Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. So it looks like Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls may have potentially been data mined, and we may, keyword may, know some of the upcoming characters for DLC at some point. Now before we get into it, I just don't want to oversell it. Nothing here is guaranteed. And because something might show up in a file at some point, does not guarantee that's a guaranteed must happen character down the road. Like, this is Arc System works. I remember when Jam showed up in the files in Guilty Gear Strive right away, and it took years and years and years for her to actually show up. So we'll give you the info as it happens and then some other news around that. So first off, where does this come from? A Twitter account named XOXLeak. They are a team of data miners who up to this point mostly seem to focus on Marvel rivals. And now they got something here on Marvel Tokon, so keeping the Marvel synergy at least, I guess. And what do they have to say about what they have seen in the files, character-wise and stage-wise? So for stages, they are alleging that Clintar, Sanctum Sanctorum, and Japan show up somewhere in the files. Clintar, for those that don't know, is the alien homeworld of the symbiote race. Yeah, so like Venom and Carnage. They came from outer space, that's where they came from. Main reason it's a thing? Unless you're just going for like famous Marvel locations, this could also point to maybe Null down the road, who is the god of the symbiotes. Basically just a nasty dude all around. Okay, so we have Clintar, what else? We got the Sanctum Sanctorum, the home of Doctor Strange. One of the bigger names in Marvel. If this is the case, then yeah, it'd be a cool stage. You can have all sorts of gimmicks and gigaws for Doctor Strange and the other various magical characters, especially on stage transitions. Because then, oh, hey, here's Doctor Strange stuff. Here's Dr. Voodoo stuff. Hey, maybe here's some Scarlet Witch stuff. You can do a lot with it, basically. And then, more magical than the Sanctum Sanctorum and more alien than Clintar, Japan. Japan famous for all sorts of karate wizards, and in the terms of Marvel, you can put a pretty good cast of characters from Japan in the background there. Okay, so that's the stages. Stages are cool, but what about the characters? So here's what's alleged. And one more time right before we get into it. Alleged, they are in the files, sure. Are they guaranteed to be characters? That's a hard maybe. We don't know. Nothing's a guarantee other than the names show up in the files. That said, the names we have are Doctor Strange, Wasp, Gambit, The Thing, and Daredevil. Which you'll notice is more than 3 more characters because we do know one of the new characters, that being Cyclops. But then again, just being in the files doesn't mean, oh, it's guaranteed to be, a season 1 character, right? Like again, Jam was in the Strive files from the start, so was Slayer, and Slayer also took years to come out. So if they're a character at all, it can be further down the road. But let's look at it for what it is, right? How likely are these just to actually be characters? How about Doctor Strange? Yeah, no, I see it, I see it. Popular enough character, proven to make a good fighting game character, and can have a very visually interesting moveset where you can kind of do whatever you want, and it would all make perfect sense. So yeah, Doctor Strange as an eventual character for Marvel Tokon, very, very easily believable. Okay, so that's Doctor Strange, but what about Gambit? Do people really want Gambit as a playable character in Marvel Tokon? Of course they do. Everyone loves Gambit. Who doesn't love Gambit? Especially think how Arc System Works does things, how cool Gambit would be in their specific art style. And again, a proven fighting game character. The only thing I could maybe see, maybe they get a little weird with it, like, for Scott, for Cyclops. It's not just Cyclops, it's Phoenix Force Cyclops, right? So maybe it could be weird to be like, Horseman Gambit. Not impossible if they want to go with like alternate versions of the character as they're proving with Cyclops. But yeah, Gambit, file another one under makes sense. And keeping on the makes sense train, hey, we have Daredevil, right? The only issue I have with Daredevil is they're going to take Doctor Doom out of the game because Doctor Doom is going to run away. Like, we got some characters in the game that are supposedly heavy hitters, but against Daredevil, what can they realistically do, right? Probably have to be a gimmick like Champion where you just pick Daredevil and that's the team by itself. Or maybe if you pick them and to make it lower accurate, the screen turns black so you can't see. But yeah, like acrobatic, fight with the batons, like sure, all that makes sense. It's not hard to do Daredevil, so sure. If true, the one I'm most excited for. We need more big body characters in the game. Ben can be a big body character. Ben does not have to play anything remotely like Hulk. Yes, Hulk smash. You know, the Thing is an accomplished actual fighter. And besides, just for the game purposes, Hulk versus Thing is a classic matchup. Yes, Thing basically always loses except for like the one time. And then you could argue semantics because like the Puppet Master was involved. But then it's sort of like Imagine Vegeta thing because Hulk wanted to be controlled. Like, it's a whole thing. Or when he beat him in Immortal Hulk, but that's also like a depowered thing. Regardless, Hulk versus Thing is a classic fight, right? And someone like the Thing on top doing big body stuff could work like a Captain Ginyu style character and summon the rest of the Fantastic Four. That'd be very interesting. On top of, say, you know, doing super armor, maybe making him an actual like more dedicated grappler because the game doesn't really have one. Lots of things you can do, but then we come to the last character, and this is the one I believe the most just because of the odder characters that have been in the game, you know, like Danger or the champion himself. This one's weird enough to make me believe, yeah, Arxis did this. That being the Wasp. Because, you know, it's certainly a more oddball pick. Jan definitely has her fans, especially after the cartoon came out. And specifically as a fighting game character, okay, in the context of Tokon, she can fly, have a lot of mobility, but she can also get really small, and that can lead to a lot of fun gameplay. NRS already showed with the Atom that, you know, getting really small or really big can lead to some very interesting gameplay mechanics, right? And I would love to see like an Arc System Works kind of take on that of a character who can shapeshift their size in the middle of a battle. Not just usual, well, character is big, so, you know, instant overhead, fuzzy overhead kind of nonsense. Like, actually, no, get weird with it, right? And Wasp is a great character to get weird with it. Because like Doctor Strange will do spells, but they'll all make sense in like fighting game logic, right? Wasp changing sizes, that could be a little bit different. So just given where Tokon has gone so far, it just reads like the most Arc System Works choice to me. That I'm not going to say this is necessarily guaranteed or nothing, but gives it another layer of credibility, at least to me. But so those are the stages and the characters that I mentioned, but I would be remiss if I did not bring this up. So this data mining group is not the only people that have been taking a sneak peek into the Tokon files. Rin also has, and if you do not know Rin is one of the bigger names in data mining as far as like fighting games go. Anyways, Rin has discovered, well, one, it's going to be like Battle Pass stuff, which sure, modern fighting games, it's going to happen, I guess, as long as there's cool colors, hopefully skins. At least this isn't Street Fighter 6. They can't just give us like Avatar slop nonstop. Oh, well, they could give a little, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But Rin, in talking about this specifically, is to take all this with a grain of salt. Not disputing that the names are in the files, but rather that they could be experimental or developmental leftovers, or just something that is not final in any way, shape, or form. Which could very well be the case, just because the name's there is not a guarantee. As simple as that. So take it for what you will. There's names in the files, but there's no concrete evidence past the names being in the files. If it is the case, for a good deal of those characters, like at minimum, I absolutely want the Thing. I think someone like Wasp would be really cool gameplay wise. I'm sure somebody must be excited for Daredevil, right? He'll get at least one sale. So we don't know, but it is newsworthy. The names are in the files. Whatever they're doing in the files though, I'll leave that up to you. So hey, post your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about all this? But otherwise, that's it for me, and that's it for the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Marvel Tokon.